The Galactic Empire stretched across thousands of worlds. Its fleets moved like storms and no one resisted. For centuries, planets bowed, paid tribute, and lived in fear of the Empire's warships. Resistance always ended the same way: burned cities, destroyed fleets, and entire populations forced into submission. Yet in a quiet corner of the galaxy, there was a small blue world that had done something no one else dared. That world was Earth. The declaration was simple, almost absurd in its boldness. Across every channel of galactic communication, the message appeared: by decree of the United Terran Nations, the Galactic Empire is forbidden to enter Terran space. Violators will not be tolerated. The word spread like wildfire. To most species under Imperial rule, it was unbelievable. To the Empire's rulers, it was an insult beyond measure. A primitive planet, with less than 3 centuries of space travel, had the audacity to tell the Empire what it could not do. The halls of the Imperial Senate echoed with laughter when the message was first played. Admirals dressed in silver and crimson smirked at the thought of Earth. To them, humans were nothing, a scattered race, not even on the charts of important worlds, but not all laughed. Some remembered the reports. For decades, the Empire had sent scouts into Terran space. Every one of them vanished. At first, this was dismissed as bad luck, pirates, malfunctions, or accidents. But the pattern was too clear. Whenever an Imperial ship neared the Sol system, it never returned. One admiral, Lord Veyron, slammed his fist onto the table of the Senate chamber. "This is not a joke," he said. "If humans believe they can defy us, we will show them the price of arrogance." The Emperor, seated high upon his throne, narrowed his eyes. His voice was calm yet cold. "Send a fleet. Not a great one, just enough to remind them who rules this galaxy." And so the first test began. The first encounter. The fleet that entered Terran space was not small by human standards. 20 heavy cruisers and a carrier, each ship large enough to destroy a city with a single strike, crossed the boundary lines. The admiral in command was confident. His name was Sarath, a veteran of 100 conquests. To him, humans were not even worthy of caution. "We will crush their defenses and return within the week," he said to his officers. But when they reached the outer edge of Terran territory, they were not alone. Waiting for them were Terran ships, sleek and strange in design. They were smaller than Imperial cruisers, their hulls dark, as if they absorbed light itself. No Imperial records had descriptions of such ships because none had returned to describe them. Admiral Sarath laughed. "Toy vessels. Fire at will." The first exchange was brutal. Imperial cannons unleashed plasma storms across the void, but the human ships did not crumble. Instead, they moved with impossible precision, weaving between the attacks. They struck back with weapons the Empire had never seen. Gravitic cannons that tore through shields, AI-guided swarms of drones that sliced into engines, and pulses that disrupted communications. Within minutes, 3 Imperial cruisers were destroyed. The rest panicked, trying to regroup. Admiral Sarath screamed orders, but nothing worked. The humans fought with precision, not like conquerors, but like guardians defending their home. Every move was calculated, every strike devastating. And then the most terrifying part: the battle ended as quickly as it began. In less than an hour, the entire Imperial fleet was gone. Not a single distress call escaped. Not one ship fled. For the first time in centuries, an Imperial fleet had been erased, utterly and completely. Whispers in the dark news traveled fast, though the Empire tried to hide it. Traders and smugglers who skirted near Terran space reported strange sightings. Enormous defense platforms hidden within asteroid fields, human ships that seemed to appear from nowhere, and energy signatures stronger than anything the galaxy had seen. Among oppressed species, the whispers spread. The humans had stood against the Empire and survived. In the underground taverns of distant colonies, rebels and exiles raised glasses in secret. "If the humans can say no," one said, "then maybe so can we." For the first time in generations, there was a glimmer of hope. The Empire's rage back in the Imperial Palace. The Emperor listened in silence to the reports. His advisors were terrified, knowing what this meant. The Empire had been embarrassed. If they did nothing, the galaxy would see weakness. If they acted and failed again, the galaxy would see the end of their dominance. Admiral Lord Veyron bowed before the throne. "Your Majesty, It is clear these humans are more dangerous than we thought. Their technology is unconventional. Their strategies, unpredictable. We must study them carefully. But the Emperor's eyes burned with fury. Carefully, he hissed. They mock us. They mock me. No world denies the Empire, not one. If these humans believe they are different, then we will remind them what power truly is. He stood, his voice thundering through the chamber. Prepare a grand fleet. If they wish to keep their little corner of the stars, they will drown in fire. The Senate erupted in cheers of loyalty, but beneath the noise there was unease. Many had seen the recordings. The Terrans had destroyed 20 Imperial warships as if they were nothing. To face them would not be simple. Humanity's resolve on Earth, leaders of the United Terran nations gathered in a great hall beneath the oceans. The walls of the chamber were transparent, showing blue waters and drifting schools of fish outside. President Elena Varga stood before the assembly. Her voice was calm but carried strength. The Empire will come again. We all know this. They cannot accept our sovereignty. But hear me, Terrans, we are not afraid. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek tribute. We only seek freedom in our own realm. And for that we will fight. The hall echoed with applause. Humanity was united, stronger than ever. Behind her, screens displayed the battle records of the first encounter. Ships had fought side by side without hesitation, from Earth, Mars, the Jovian colonies, and beyond. For the first time, all of humanity had one purpose: to defend their home. Scientists worked day and night upgrading defenses. Engineers reinforced asteroid bases, hidden under layers of rock and steel. AI commanders calculated countless scenarios of the next invasion. The message was clear. Earth would not fall. The galaxy holds its breath across the stars. Species watched. Some in secret, some with open fascination. Small rebel groups dreamed of contacting the humans. Merchants wondered if Terran trade might offer protection. Governors of oppressed worlds feared the anger of the Emperor if they so much as whispered the word human. The galaxy had been ruled by fear for so long that the simple act of defiance had shaken the balance. No one knew what would come next. But one truth had already been written in history. For the first time in the age of the Empire, a world had drawn a line and said, no further. The galaxy waited. The declaration of Earth had spread across every corner, and the defeat of the first Imperial fleet was no longer rumor. Traders whispered the tale in shadowed markets. Slaves told it in hushed voices, and even governors of far-off systems heard it. Humanity had stood against the Empire and won. But in the heart of the Empire there was no laughter now. Only rage. The Emperor himself had ordered a grand fleet to prepare. Thousands of ships were pulled from their posts. Dreadnoughts, carriers, and cruisers gathered in the dark void near the Imperial capital. The fleet was greater than anything ever seen before, meant to remind the galaxy that resistance was hopeless. Admiral Lord Veyron was placed in command. Unlike others, he did not underestimate humans. He had studied the first battle, and though much of the data was lost, what remained showed something terrifying. The humans fought with a style no Imperial doctrine could predict. They moved like predators defending their den, and they used technology that seemed designed for survival rather than conquest. Veyron stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crown of Dominion. Around him, officers looked both proud and uneasy. He whispered to himself, "This will not be easy. They will not fight as others do." The march to Sol, when the Grand Fleet left Imperial space, the galaxy trembled. World after world watched them pass, silent and fearful. Never before had the Empire moved so many ships against a single world. The message was clear. Earth would be crushed so completely that none would dare defy the Empire again. But in Terran space, the humans were ready. The warning of the first battle had given them time. Asteroid belts were turned into fortresses. Gas giants hid weapons platforms deep in their clouds. AI-controlled drones filled the dark, waiting for commands. On Mars, engineers worked without rest to upgrade shipyards. From Earth itself, fleets launched. Thousands of ships smaller than Imperial vessels but built with precision. Human commanders gathered in the Oceanic Council chamber once more. President Elena Varga stood before them, her eyes sharp. They are coming with everything they have. They believe we will break, but hear me. We do not fight for conquest. We fight for our homes, our children, and our freedom. And because of that, we cannot fall. Her words carried across the chamber into every transmission, every ship, every soldier. Humanity's spirit was united. The Empire arrives. The Grand Fleet reached the border of Terran space like a black storm. Thousands of ships blotted out the stars, their weapons glowing with power. The sight alone would have broken the courage of most civilizations. Admiral Veyron gave the order. Advance. Crush them quickly. But as the Imperial fleet entered Terran space, the void itself came alive. From the darkness, Terran ships appeared. Not in tight formations, but scattered, moving like hunters. They struck and vanished, never staying long enough to be cornered. Swarms of drones filled the spaces between, attacking engines and weapons. Gravitic cannons tore through shields. Even the mighty dreadnoughts staggered under the precision of Terran strikes. The Empire expected chaos. Instead, they found discipline and unity. Every human ship fought with purpose, linked through a vast network of AI intelligence that coordinated movements faster than any Imperial commander could react. Within the first hours, dozens of Imperial ships fell, the wall of humanity, but this was only the beginning. When the fleet pressed deeper, they reached the asteroid belt of the Sol system. What they thought was empty rock was revealed as a trap. Entire asteroids split open, revealing cannons the size of mountains. Energy beams cut through Imperial lines, tearing apart carriers before they could launch fighters. On the outer edge of Jupiter, the gas giant itself seemed to fight. Massive platforms hidden in its storms launched missiles that pierced even the strongest shields. Imperial officers shouted in panic as explosions filled the void, and yet the humans still did not pursue conquest. They defended, struck, and retreated. They fought like an unbreakable wall, letting the Empire crash against them again and again. Admiral Veyron clenched his fists. He knew this was no ordinary war. They are not trying to destroy us, he said to his staff. They are only trying to keep us out. This is not conquest. This is survival. Turning of the battle for days, the war raged. The Empire threw wave after wave at Terran defenses. Each time they were met with fire and fury. Human ships were destroyed, yes, but for every Terran ship lost, 5 Imperials burned. Then came the turning point. At the edge of Mars, an Imperial strike force tried to break through. They expected a weak defense. Instead, they faced humanity's newest creation, colossal rail platforms built into the planet's moons. When the cannons fired, the very void seemed to tremble. Slugs of metal, accelerated to near light speed, ripped through the Imperial formation. Cruisers shattered. Dreadnoughts cracked open. And for the first time in the battle, the Imperial fleet faltered. The humans pressed the advantage. Swarms of drones flooded the gaps, tearing apart retreating vessels. The Empire's mighty fleet, once unstoppable, was being broken piece by piece. Admiral Veyron stood silent, his face pale. They will not yield. They will not bow. The retreat by the 7th day of battle, the truth was clear. The Empire had failed. Their numbers meant nothing against the Terran defenses. Their arrogance had blinded them. The Emperor's Grand Fleet, meant to destroy Earth, was forced into retreat. Ships limped away, burning and broken, while Terran ships hovered at the borders, watching but never chasing. President Elena Varga sent one final message to the retreating fleet. Leave our realm and never return. Terran space is sovereign. We do not rule others, but we will never be ruled. This is the law of humanity. The message echoed across the galaxy. Aftermath, the galaxy had witnessed the impossible. The Empire had been denied. On distant worlds, slaves whispered of freedom. Oppressed species dreamed of resistance. Even imperial governors began to doubt the power of their emperor. The myth of the Empire's invincibility was broken, but Earth did not seek to rise as conqueror. Instead, humanity closed its borders, guarding its space but offering no empire of its own. They declared themselves free, and in their freedom they became a symbol for all others. The emperor raged in his palace, his pride shattered. Yet even he could not deny the truth. Against all odds, the humans had drawn a line in the stars, and the Empire had failed to cross it. Closing in the years that followed, the galaxy would change. Some species would rise inspired by humanity's stand. Others would cower, still fearing imperial wrath. But all would remember the words that began it. The Galactic Empire is prohibited to enter the realm of Terran space.